Christmas isn't about the presents under the tree or the decorations we hang. It's about understanding the heart of giving, the essence of selflessness, and the life-changing example Jesus set for all of us. The true magic of Christmas comes from acts of love, compassion, and generosity that cost nothing but mean everything. How we choose to touch lives and leave a lasting impact far beyond material gifts. Life's greatest rewards come when we focus on what we can give rather than what we can receive, embracing the mindset of abundance through service, kindness, and the joy of making someone's life better. Christmas often comes with glittering lights, towering trees, and beautifully wrapped presents that line the living room floor. We spend weeks, sometimes months, planning the perfect gift for our loved ones, chasing sales, and trying to make everything look just right. And while these things can bring a temporary smile, they are not the heart of what Christmas truly represents. If we stop for a moment and think deeply, we realize that the essence of this season has nothing to do with price tags or the latest gadgets. Christmas is a reminder of something far greater than the material. It is a celebration of the spirit of giving, the embodiment of love, and the example of selflessness that Jesus demonstrated. From the very first Christmas, the story was never about what could be given to Jesus. The gifts from the wise men, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, were symbols, meaningful tokens, but they were nothing compared to the message that he brought into the world. Jesus came to show humanity how to live, how to love, and how to serve others without expecting anything in return. He demonstrated through his life that the most valuable gift we can offer is not something that can be wrapped, bought, or measured in wealth. The gift that truly changes lives is the gift of self, our time, our attention, our care, and our willingness to serve. Think about it. When we give someone a material gift, we often hope to see their reaction, to feel appreciated, or to mark a social expectation. But when we give from the heart, when we invest our energy in lifting someone's spirit, the return is far beyond what money can buy. Jesus showed this truth every day of his life. He healed the sick, comforted the lonely, forgave the sinner, and offered hope to the hopeless. These actions were not driven by expectation or obligation. They were expressions of pure love. And that is the lesson Christmas teaches us. The most profound joy comes from giving without the need to receive, from investing in the lives of others, and from understanding that our presence and our love are more precious than any item we could place under a tree. In today's world, it's easy to get lost in the commercial side of Christmas. We see advertisements telling us that happiness comes from the right toy, the perfect outfit, or the newest technology. Yet, if we take a step back and reflect, we can see that these things fade. They bring temporary excitement, but the memory of a thoughtful gesture, a kind word, or a shared moment of laughter lasts far longer. The lessons of Jesus remind us that the greatest wealth is not in possessions, but in our ability to touch lives, to inspire others, and to leave a legacy of love. Consider the power of small acts of generosity. A simple smile to someone who feels unseen, a helping hand to someone in need, or a listening ear to someone who feels unheard. These are gifts that cost nothing but change everything. Christmas calls us to recognize that we don't need to buy happiness. We need to share it. Jesus' example teaches us that our influence, our compassion, and our kindness are what make a real difference in this world. It's in these moments that we understand the true spirit of the season. Many people miss this truth because they are focused on accumulating or receiving. We measure Christmas by the size of our gift list or the extravagance of our decorations. But Jesus' life teaches us that the measure of a meaningful Christmas is found in the love we give freely, the sacrifices we make without complaint, and the way we make someone else's world brighter. Imagine a world where everyone embraced this approach, not chasing material gain, but seeking to serve, uplift, and encourage. That is the world Jesus invites us to create, not just during Christmas, but every single day. We are all capable of this kind of giving. It doesn't require wealth, social status, or recognition. It requires heart. It requires awareness that every person we encounter is an opportunity to give the gift of encouragement, hope, or understanding. When we act with this mindset, Christmas transforms from a season of spending to a season of significance. It becomes a time where we reflect on what truly matters and where we live the example set by the one whose birth we celebrate. So this Christmas, let us look beyond the boxes, the ribbons, and the commercial noise. Let us remember that the ultimate lesson of the season is not about what we receive, but about what we give. Jesus showed us the truth that life's greatest impact comes from selflessness, love, and service. He demonstrated that even the smallest act of kindness can echo across lifetimes, that giving of ourselves is the most powerful way to change the world, and that the joy we feel when we bless others is far richer than any joy a gift can provide. Christmas is not about gifts. It is about truth, love, and the extraordinary power of giving from the heart. And when we understand this, we start to live a life that reflects the very reason the season exists. The true magic of Christmas is rarely found in the sparkling lights, the perfectly wrapped presents, or even the feasts that fill our tables. The magic that transforms hearts and leaves lasting impressions is far simpler and far deeper. It's the invisible thread of love, compassion, and generosity that binds people together, the small but meaningful ways we reach out to others, and the moments when we choose to put someone else's happiness above our own convenience. This is the essence of Christmas, and it's a truth that Jesus demonstrated time and time again. Think for a moment about what it means to give without expectation. Many of us have grown up associating gifts with reciprocity. If I give, I hope to receive. But Jesus showed us a different path. His life was a series of selfless acts, performed not for recognition or reward, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Healing the sick, feeding the hungry, comforting the broken-hearted, these were gifts offered freely, and their value cannot be measured in coins or counted in possessions. The real impact came from the change they inspired, the hope they instilled, and the lives they transformed. Christmas invites us to embrace this same mindset. It calls us to look beyond material possessions and to focus on the deeper, more meaningful ways we can touch lives. A kind word to someone who feels unseen, a helping hand for a person struggling quietly, or simply spending time with those who are lonely. These are the gifts that resonate long after the holiday season has passed. They cost little, but their impact is immense. They create ripples of love and kindness that extend far beyond what we can imagine. Many people miss this because the world around us constantly emphasizes consumption. We are bombarded with messages that happiness comes from buying, that love is shown through gifts, and that success is measured by what we can acquire. But Christmas challenges that notion. It reminds us that life's greatest rewards are found not in what we receive, but in what we give. The joy of seeing someone smile because of your actions, the warmth of knowing you've lightened someone's burden, and the satisfaction of lifting another's spirit, these are the treasures that last far beyond any toy, gadget, or decoration. It is easy to underestimate the power of these small acts of generosity. A simple gesture may seem insignificant at first. A warm meal for a neighbor, a heartfelt note for a friend, or a moment of patience for someone who tests your limits. But these actions carry profound meaning. Jesus showed us that love is measured not by grandeur, but by consistency and sincerity. Every small act of kindness is a gift that can transform a person's world. The most ordinary moments can become extraordinary when we approach them with intentional generosity. Imagine the impact if we all embraced this perspective during Christmas and beyond. A smile given without expectation, a word of encouragement to someone struggling, a moment of genuine attention to a person in need. These are the gifts that shape lives. They create a culture of care where people feel valued, seen, and loved. They remind us that Christmas is not about competition, materialism, or superficial appearances. It is about the deeper connections we foster, the hope we bring, and the difference we make in the lives of others. Christmas is also a reminder that generosity is not limited to grand gestures. In fact, the smallest acts often carry the greatest weight. A conversation that listens more than it speaks, a deed done quietly without seeking recognition, a smile extended to someone who may be facing darkness. These are the true gifts. Jesus' example reminds us that it is the spirit behind the action, the heart in the giving, that holds the greatest significance. When we act from love, with genuine concern for others, we step into the very essence of the Christmas message. And there is an incredible paradox to this truth. The more we give, the more we receive, not in material terms, but in a deeper, more lasting sense. Joy, fulfillment, connection, and meaning flow naturally to those who embrace a life of giving. Christmas, then, is not just a day on the calendar or a season of the year. It is an invitation to a lifestyle, a chance to align our actions with the timeless example of Jesus. By giving generously with love and compassion, we experience the richness of life in a way that no store-bought gift can replicate. This season reminds us that we all have the power to make a difference. Each of us can choose to carry forward the spirit of Christmas in our own lives. We can give our time, our attention, our encouragement, and our love. These gifts do not fade, they do not break, and they do not lose value. They live on in the hearts of those we touch, echoing through their lives and into the lives of countless others. This is the true magic of Christmas, the profound, transformative power of selfless generosity that costs little but changes everything. So, as we celebrate this season, let us not be distracted by the allure of material gifts. Let us focus instead on the acts of love, compassion, and generosity that truly define the spirit of Christmas. Let us follow the example Jesus showed us and find joy in giving freely, serving wholeheartedly, and touching the lives of those around us. This is the legacy we can leave, the message we can share, and the truth that can transform not only our holiday season, but our entire lives. Life has a way of teaching us powerful lessons through the choices we make and the mindset we embrace. One of the most important lessons comes from understanding that the greatest rewards in life are rarely measured by what we receive, but by what we give. This truth, so vividly demonstrated by Jesus, is at the heart of Christmas. It is a reminder that when we shift our focus from self-centered gain to selfless contribution, we unlock a life of abundance, joy, and meaning that cannot be bought or measured. When we think about giving, we often imagine gifts, money, or tangible acts of kindness. While these are valuable, the deeper principle lies in our willingness to invest ourselves fully into the lives of others. Time, attention, encouragement, and love. These are gifts that carry immense power. They cannot be quantified, yet they hold the capacity to transform hearts, strengthen relationships, and create ripples that extend far beyond our immediate reach. Jesus demonstrated this truth consistently. He gave not for recognition, not for reward, but because it was the essence of who he was. He modeled a life of service, showing that fulfillment comes not from what we take, but from what we contribute to the world. Think about it. When we approach life with a mindset of receiving rather than giving, we often find ourselves trapped in dissatisfaction, comparison, and longing. We chase possessions, achievements, and recognition, believing that they will bring happiness. Yet the more we accumulate, the more we feel a void. True fulfillment comes from a different source. The joy of lifting someone else, the satisfaction of making a positive difference, and the deep sense of purpose that arises when we prioritize others over ourselves. Christmas calls us to this higher perspective. It is an invitation to shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance, understanding that the more we give, the richer our lives become in ways that matter most. Generosity is not limited to grand gestures or dramatic acts. It can be found in the simple, consistent ways we show care for those around us. Listening with patience to a friend in distress, offering encouragement to someone who doubts themselves, or extending kindness to a stranger, these are the acts that truly define the spirit of giving. Each small act, performed with sincerity, compounds over time, creating a legacy of love and influence. Jesus' life reminds us that the impact of our giving is not measured by scale, but by intention and consistency. Even the smallest gestures, when motivated by genuine love, have the power to inspire change. Embracing a giving mindset also teaches us valuable lessons about humility, empathy, and gratitude. When we serve others, we recognize that everyone has struggles, fears, and needs. We begin to see beyond our own challenges and gain perspective on the broader human experience. Generosity opens our hearts to empathy, helping us connect deeply with others, and gratitude naturally follows. We realize that the act of giving is not a sacrifice, but an opportunity to enrich our own lives while enriching the lives of others. This is the truth that Christmas illuminates. Giving is not a burden, but a doorway to fulfillment and joy. Moreover, giving teaches us resilience and courage. To truly invest in others, we must step beyond our comfort zones. We must risk vulnerability, offer kindness when it may not be reciprocated, and act with faith that our contributions matter, even when we cannot see immediate results. This willingness to give selflessly builds character and strengthens our capacity for love, patience, and perseverance. It is in these moments of intentional generosity that we align ourselves with the example of Jesus, embodying the principles that create lasting impact and meaningful connections. Christmas reminds us that the greatest rewards come from a life devoted to others. It is a season that challenges us to prioritize meaning over material, to invest in hearts rather than possessions, and to focus on leaving a legacy of love, hope, and encouragement. The gifts we offer from this place of authenticity carry an enduring power that transcends time and circumstance. They ripple through families, communities, and generations, creating a chain of impact that can transform the world in ways we may never fully comprehend. Imagine approaching every day, not just Christmas, with this perspective. What if we measured success not by what we acquire, but by what we give? What if we sought to make a positive difference in every interaction, leaving people better than we found them? What if our lives became living examples of generosity, empathy, and selflessness? These are not idealistic dreams. They are attainable realities when we embrace the mindset Jesus demonstrated, and Christmas is the perfect reminder that this is possible. Ultimately, the joy of giving comes from knowing that we are contributing to something far greater than ourselves. It comes from seeing lives touched, spirits lifted, and hope restored. It comes from the understanding that the greatest value in life is not found in accumulation, but in contribution. When we give freely with love and intention, we unlock a profound sense of fulfillment that no material possession can ever replace. Christmas teaches us this truth, showing us that the ultimate reward is not what we receive, but the impact we make through our generosity, kindness, and selfless service. So, as we reflect on this season, let us embrace the mindset of giving that Jesus demonstrated. Let us focus on what we can contribute rather than what we can collect. Let us invest in the lives of others with time, love, and compassion. Let us recognize that the greatest rewards are reserved for those who give selflessly, who act from the heart, and who choose to live a life of meaningful service. By doing so, we do not merely celebrate Christmas, we live it, embodying its true essence in every action, every choice, and every moment. So now, as we stand here reflecting on the meaning of Christmas, I want to ask you a question. Are you ready to see the truth behind this season? Are you ready to move beyond the ribbons, the lights, and the material gifts to embrace something far greater? Imagine, just for a moment, that this Christmas you chose to live differently. You chose to focus on giving rather than receiving, to serve rather than expect, and to love without limits. What would your life look like if you approached each day with the same generosity and selflessness that Jesus showed us? Think about the impact you could have. One smile, one word of encouragement, one act of kindness. These are not small gestures. These are seeds planted in the hearts of others, seeds that grow into hope, joy, and transformation. And when we multiply these acts across our families, our communities, and our world, the results are extraordinary. You see, Christmas is not about the gifts we get. It's about the lives we touch. It's about the love we share and the legacy we leave behind. Imagine walking into a room and noticing someone who feels invisible. Most people would pass by, too busy, too distracted, too focused on themselves. But what if you stopped? What if you smiled, said a kind word, offered your attention? That one act could change the trajectory of that person's day, maybe even their life. That is the power of giving from the heart. That is the magic of Christmas, and it doesn't require money, status, or recognition. It only requires you. I want to tell you a story, a simple one, but one that carries a truth we often overlook. A man walked through a busy city street on Christmas Eve. People were rushing, bags in hand, voices loud, music playing, all caught up in the chaos of the season. And then he saw a young boy sitting on a bench, cold and alone. Nobody noticed him. Nobody stopped. The man approached, handed the boy his coat, shared a warm drink, and simply sat with him for a few moments. That's it. Nothing grand, nothing headline making, just presence, care, and love. But the boy's eyes shone brighter than any Christmas tree lights. The warmth he felt in that moment stayed with him forever. That is the gift that matters. That is the truth of Christmas. Now I ask you, what small, meaningful act can you do this season? Who can you reach out to that might feel forgotten, overlooked, or alone? The power is in your hands. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect gift, or the perfect opportunity. You simply need to act, because the truth is, the greatest impact comes not from grand gestures, but from consistent, intentional acts of love. And the more you give, the more you discover the abundance that comes from a life lived in service to others. Remember, Jesus didn't come to the world to be celebrated with ribbons and bows. He came to teach, to serve, and to love. His life is the blueprint for what it means to live meaningfully, and Christmas is our annual reminder to follow that blueprint. Not perfectly, but with intention, not for recognition, but for impact. Not for receiving, but for giving. Every day we have the chance to reflect that spirit in the lives we touch. Every choice we make, every interaction we have, is an opportunity to embody the true essence of Christmas. And let's not forget the incredible paradox of life. The more we give, the more we gain. Not in material possessions, not in applause, but in fulfillment, purpose, and joy that no wealth can buy. When you serve someone, when you love someone, when you give without expectation, you unlock a depth of happiness and satisfaction that lasts far beyond the season. You create ripples of positivity that spread through families, friends, communities, and even strangers you will never meet. That is the power of generosity. That is the joy of living the truth of Christmas. So today, I challenge you. I challenge you to make this Christmas different. To focus less on what you will get and more on what you will give. To lift others, encourage others, and love others. Step into each moment with the understanding that your actions matter, your words matter, your presence matters, and in doing so, you don't just celebrate Christmas. You live it, you breathe it, and you become a living example of its truth. Let me ask again, are you ready to embrace this truth? Are you ready to give without expecting, to love without conditions, to serve without hesitation? Because when you do, you don't just transform the world around you. You transform yourself. You awaken a joy, a fulfillment, and a sense of purpose that nothing else in life can provide. That is the ultimate gift of Christmas. That is the lesson Jesus gave us. And that is the path to a life of lasting impact, meaning, and extraordinary joy. So, as the lights glow, the music plays, and the world celebrates, remember this: Christmas is not about the gifts under the tree. Christmas is about the hearts we touch, the lives we change, and the love we share. Follow the example of Jesus, give generously, serve selflessly, and love endlessly. And when you do, you will discover a truth more powerful than any material gift. The greatest reward in life is found not in what we receive, but in what we give. And that, my friends, is a gift that lasts forever.